Look at this jacket. It's wrinkled. Not the I sat on it wrinkled. The fabric itself is puckered, wrinkled, and permanently unsmooth. Now look at this shirt. It's covered in tiny square craters. A grid of little pockets directly in the knit. It looks like someone's waffle iron got to it. So why are they shaped that way? Is it just for looks, or is there an actual purpose? This is Chasing Beauty, and today we're looking at two fabrics that turn texture into technology. Let's start with seersucker. The name comes from the Persian sheer o shakur, milk and sugar, smooth and rough. That's the texture of seersucker. Alternating stripes of puckered and flat fabric running side by side. How? During weaving, some warp threads are held under tension, while others are left slack. When the cloth comes off the loom, the slack threads buckle and scrunch up. That causes the pucker. Why would anyone want an intentionally wrinkled fabric? Because it solves a problem that flat fabric can't. When cloth lies flat against the skin, it traps moisture. Because there are no gaps, heat builds up with no way to release. Seersucker's puckers create air channels, tiny ridges that hold the fabric away from the body. Air moves underneath, allowing moisture to evaporate instead of just sitting stagnant. Seersucker was woven for centuries in India. The British encountered it during colonial rule and brought it west. By the early 1700s, it had landed in the American South. In the South, seersucker was not initially a gentleman's fabric. It was cheap. Because of its low price and durability, seersucker was commonly used for slave clothing, with runaway ads describing enslaved people wearing seersucker garments. Then around 1909, a New Orleans clothier named Joseph Haspel started cutting seersucker into suits. His logic was simple. Businessmen in the South were suffocating in wool, and this fabric breathed. Today, the US Senate passes a resolution every year designating a National Seersucker Day and a full summer of Seersucker Thursdays, where senators from both parties show up to the floor in matching stripes and pose for photos at the Ohio clock. Now on the opposite end lies the waffle, sometimes called a thermal. It's a grid of tiny open cells on the surface of a fabric. But why does it look like that? Unlike seersucker, waffle isn't woven, it's a knit, and the grid comes from alternating two kinds of stitches. Knit stitches pull tight. They draw the yarn down and form the floor of each cell. Tuck stitches do the opposite. They hold extra loops of yarn without completing the stitch, piling up and building height. Those become the raised walls. Alternate the two in both directions across the rows and up the columns, and the fabric organizes itself into a grid. So what's the purpose? Each cell in the grid holds a small volume of still air. Your body heats that air while the grid traps it and prevents it from circulating away. Thousands of tiny pockets, each one a miniature insulation chamber. The fabric itself was invented by the United States Navy around 1951, right in the middle of the Korean War, when keeping Marines and sailors operational in Arctic conditions without bulk was mission critical. The Navy used slow and expensive Rochelle knitting machines that created deep cells in the fabric. The waffle knit of today is a civilian adaptation. Commercial mills reverse engineered the structure to run on their conventional circular knitting machines. The original Rochelle version is now only made by a handful of manufacturers, mostly Japanese heritage brands running vintage machines. So, seersucker and waffle knit solve the same problem of thermoregulation with the same tool, texture, the physical shape of the fabric surface. It's funny, sometimes the most advanced technology in your closet is just a wrinkle.